Good morning. Take that mask off before it strangles you. Y'all look as wide-eyed and bushy-tailed as I feel this morning. Everybody have a long weekend? Word of advice, if y'all go out in the cattle pasture, watch where you're stepping. There's holes out there that will turn your ankles.
You got your ankle again?
Yes. I moved furniture Friday morning, and my son says, Mom, I'm tore up on the side. You take Grandpa to the eye doctor. I took my dad to the eye doctor and then took him back out to the cattle pasture. Got out of the car to talk to my son, and yeah, turned my ankle. Didn't turn it bad. It just swelled up like a,
The same
one. Then 2020 needs to end soon. So it was a rough weekend. But I put the boot back on, and Saturday afternoon, the swelling was completely down and gone. And I thought, well, I better wear the boot for a few days because I know I probably messed up a couple of ligaments. So it's going to be a fun week. I can already tell. So stay out of cow pastures. That's my word of advice for this week. You got a test coming up this week. I'm going to open it probably today, give you till next Monday to finish it. But it's over chapters 3 through 9. You'll have to read chapter 9 on your own. I think I've already told you all that. But do we have any questions on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8? 3, 4, and 5 was conversions, time and temperature. 6 was equipment used, which is the needles, or not the needles, the syringes, the medicine cups, medicine droppers. 7 was medication orders, and 8 was the medication labels. Do we have any questions over any of that? Have you tried? Let me go back to my other screen. We go back to the modules. Supposed to be a homework, yeah. Homework for chapters 3 through 9. For some reason, I don't have, that was week 7. I don't have today's up here. I'll add it. Make sure I throw them. This is the one we're going to look at today. But before you take the test, if you haven't already, go through and do the homework review for chapters 3 through 9. And I can move it down here into this week. Okay. And then we're going to look at this chapter 10, oral dosage calculations. Okay. So y'all aren't talkative this morning. Are y'all okay? So you're tired. I get that. All right. So going back to this other screen, that's the package share this one though. If y'all want to see what I'm doing, if you go back and watch the videos later. All right. So the oral dosage calculations, we're going to use dimensional analysis. And it's one of the easiest ways to calculate dosages. I mean, you have the formula method, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it works only if your units of measure match. The dimensional analysis, it works regardless because you can do conversions with it. Now we're talking oral dosages. So most of our dosages here are going to be tablets, capsules, caplets, and oral solutions. So these are mainly oral dosages that we talk about, or the oral rounds. So when we're looking at this, we're going to look at the order, which is, well, I can't say these words, these names of these medications. But it's 1 gram by mouth. QID is it's 4 times a day, before meals and at bedtime. Okay. What we need from our order is the name of the medication and the dose. And then what we need from our label is the dosage form and the dosage strength. So when you set these up, I always use an X because that's my unknown. In this case, it's tablets, so I'm going to be looking for the number of tablets I'm going to give for 1 dose. And we're always looking for 1 dose. Unless it says otherwise or it asks for more, we're always going to start with 1 dose. How much are we going to give? How much are we going to administer? It's always for 1 dose. So then I start out with my doctor's order on top. The doctor order, and then times my dosage form over my dosage strength. Then if I have to do a conversion, I will out here. Okay. So it's pretty simple if you don't overthink it. 99% of the math problems that people think are hard is because they overthink them. They're generally real easy, and you say, this can't be that easy. It's got to be harder than this, and then you make it harder. Okay, so for number 1, I'm looking for the number of tablets. So my doctor's order is 1 gram, and we can do this one in our head. I mean, it's not that big a deal, but I want you to get in the habit of doing it dimensional analysis, because the more you practice it, when you really need it, you'll have it down. Then my dosage form, which is tablets, over my dosage strength, which is 1 gram. And since they're both in grams, my grams will cancel. Leaves me just with the tablets, which is where I want to be. I can multiply 1 times 1 tablet equals 1 tablet. 1 times 1 gives me just 1. So I don't need to put anything over here, because anything over 1 is the whole number, right? Then I'm giving just 1 tablet. Now, if you go up here and you kind of use your common sense, the doctor ordered 1 gram. My tablets are 1 gram per tablet. Then I know I'm going to give 1 tablet. Right? But I want you to use the dimensional analysis. You can check using common sense. Questions? So this is chlorothamycin, 500 milligrams. So I've got to check my label. It's Biaxin, Flimtab, and the generic is chlorothamycin. So I've got the same medication. The 250 milligrams is my dosage strength. And it says right here, tablets. It also says tablets here. So I know that's my dosage form. I'm going to look for the number of tablets I need. My doctor's order, which is 500 milligrams over 1. And the order will always be over 1. And then my dosage form, which is tablets, over my dosage strength, which is 250 milligrams. They're both in milligrams, so I can cancel the milligrams. And I'm left with just tablets. Now, there's a couple different ways we can do this. 0 cancels 0. So if I got a 0 on the bottom, I got a 0 on the top. Then I'm looking at just 50 over 25. What's 50 divided by 25? Or 25 going to 50, how many times? 2. So then I'm going to give 2 tablets. You can write tab or you can write tablet. Keep the S off, they want them plural. For some reason, the unit of measure is always plural. I mean, it's always singular, not plural. I haven't had enough caffeine this morning either. So it seemed pretty easy so far. I'm not going to make it harder again. That's another couple of chapters. All right, so we have an order of clonazepam, 1.5 milligrams. Ribotril, maybe, I don't know. But it has clonazepam. Well, what half these medications are. I do good to say the ones I can. But it is clonazepam. So they are the same generic name. My dosage strength is what? 2 milligrams. And what is my dosage form? No, that's my doctor's order. Oh, that's good. Am I dealing with a tablet, a capsule, a liquid tablet? Mainly because it says scored tablets right here. Okay. One thing about scored tablets, if it's not scored, you know, a lot of times you'll see a tablet. My husband takes one that looks like this. Except they're all even. It's cut, you know, it's got 2 lines down the middle where they're scored, so you can cut it up into fourths. He also takes a tablet that is like this. So you can break that down into. This was the first medicine he's taken that's done that, and it's trazodone, 150 milligrams. But anyway, I could break it into fourths. I could break it in. I could take a fourth off and give him 3/4, or I could break it, you know, break it in half and give him 1/2. So, how much are we going to give? So we're going to look at tablets. I don't have to put the scored. I just have to put the tablet. What's my order? 1.5 milligram. Make sure you put the unit of measure with these, because I want to make sure you know, that you cancel. And so my dosage form, we said, is tablet. What's my dosage strength? 2 milligrams, right? Then cancel your milligrams. You know you're left with a tablet or with tablets. So then I'm going to have 1.5 divided by 2. And then you take calculators. Y'all can use calculators on this next test. You don't have to show me this, 1.5 over 2, but I do need to see this part right here. Well, it won't be on this test. This will be on test 3. But I would still need to see this. So 1.5 divided by 2 is 0.75 tablets. So I'm going to give 3/4 of a tablet. This is the one that you can use your calculators on. This test and test 2, you can use calculators on also. The test you're taking this week is 3 through 9. The next test is 10, 11, and 12. Maybe 13, I don't know. But it won't be as many chapters as this previous, or the test 2. There's just a lot in this section. Levothyroxine. I have 0.05 milligrams. And then this is Synthroid, but it's the levothyroxine sodium. It's the same generic name. Now, clear. I have 25 micrograms or I have 0.025 milligrams. These are equivalent dosages, okay? Because one's micrograms, one's milligrams. They're different units of measure. I can use either one of them. As a matter of fact, in a minute, I'll work them both ways for you, both of the measures. But anytime you're given two, you can choose whichever one you want. I look at what my order is. My order is in milligrams. So I want to use the one in milligrams. That way I don't have to do the conversion. The conversion's already done for me, okay? So I'm looking for tablets because that's my form. The order is 0.05 milligrams over 1 tablet. And then my dosage is 0.025 milligrams. So my milligrams will cancel. And I end up with 0.05 over 0.025. Now, you're more than welcome to put that in your calculator. I don't have a calculator on me right now, or my phone's at right now. Probably in my office. I go 1, 2, 3 places on the bottom, get 25. So I have to go 3 places on the top, which means I have to add a 0, and I get 50. So 50 divided by 25 is 2. Okay. Now, I'm going to use the micrograms. Everything's still going to set up the same way. My form didn't change, but I want to use the 25 micrograms because we decided we liked whole numbers better. I mean, who doesn't like whole numbers better than decimals, right? All right, but the thing is I've got a milligram and I've got a microgram. They're not the same unit, so they don't cancel. So now I have to do a conversion. So does anybody remember how many, or what my conversion is from milligrams to micrograms? 1 milligram equals 1,000 micrograms. Okay. Now, since micrograms is on bottom, my 1,000 micrograms will go on top because it's got to be able to cancel. And my 1 milligram will go to the bottom. So now I can cancel micrograms, I can cancel milligrams, and I'm left with a tablet. Now, if I take the 0.05 times the 1,000, these down here, that's still going to be tablets. And 1 times 25 times 1 is still 25. Right. More than welcome to put it in your calculator. But if you'll remember, if I'm multiplying by a power of 10, I move my decimal to the right, the number of zeros. So I'm going to end up with 50 over 25, which again, I end up with 2 tablets. So I'm going to get the same answer. One's just a little more. That's what I'm saying. If you've got the equivalent measure, use the equivalent measure. Excuse me? Yeah, sometimes you won't have the equivalent measure. Sometimes you'll have to do the conversion. But anytime you're given the option, take the option. All right. Now these two, the orders for nitroglycerin, 0.6 milligrams SL. Do you remember what SL stands for? If somebody's saying, is it sublingual? I probably spelled sublingual wrong. sublingual, which means that it goes under the tongue. So now, since it's given sublingual, you have to choose which nitroglycerin. You have both the nitroglycerins in your medicine part. So which one are you going to give?
The second one, the Del Monte.
Oh yeah, because I had to spell sublingual. This one says sublingual. This one says extended release. Okay. If the doctor's ordered sublingual, he wants a sublingual because he wants it to go under the tongue and dissolve. The extended release, they swallow, and it lasts longer in the stomach, and it releases the medicine over a period of time. With the sublingual, they want the medicine in the bloodstream as quickly as possible. Okay, so we're going to give the nitrostat, right? Nitrostat is nitroglycerin. So, looking for a tablet. So my doctor's order is 0.6 milligrams. And then my supply dose, it's got 0.3 milligrams and 1/200th of a grain. Which one would I use? The what? Milligrams. We don't deal with grains. Okay. There are some older doctors that will deal with grains. You might have to find an older nurse to help you with the grains. But for the most part, we're going to deal with milligrams. Grams per one tablet. So then my milligrams are going to cancel. And again, you can put the 0.6 and divide it by the 0.3. So if it's going from top to bottom, you got to cancel. I mean, you got to divide. So how many tablets are we going to give? I do the mental math. I've got one decimal place at the bottom. Oops, thank you. If I do the mental math, I got one decimal place on the bottom, so I'm going to move one place to the right. I'm going to move the top one place to the right, which gives me 6/3, which would be 2 tablets, right? Let's do that. Any questions? This one doesn't have a label. And sometimes for the test, or what I do with this, is I can't always find labels that will match what the doctor's ordered. So I'll just type up what the label would have. So the doctor's ordered whatever that is, fluoropromate. That's what the pharmacy sent up. The order is 0.1 grams. The pharmacy has 100 milligrams tablets, and they're scored. Okay, so I need to cut on my can. So we're going to start out with tablets. And what I'm going to let you do is I'm going to let you set it up real quick. Work it out, and then I'll work it out up here. It's 0.1 grams, and I've got the supply is 100 milligrams. So I've got to do the conversion. Okay, there's 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram.
Definitely. I didn't see you like
Sorry, what?
that. I saw you see you doing it.
I can be sneaky. I was given a test once when I was teaching high school. I gave a lot of tests, but I walk, when I'm given a test and I can walk around the classroom, I walk around the classroom. Morning, they, of course, with high school, yeah, you do have to check for cheating because it runs rampant. But I just like, I can't sit still and just watch somebody take a test from up here. So I walk trying to get some steps in. And I had some really soft sole shoes on. And I stopped behind this one kid. He's a teacher's kid that I worked with really close. And he looked up, and I guess he caught me out of the corner of his eye. He nearly jumped out of his seat. He didn't hear me coming up behind him, and I scared him to death. I said, "You gotta watch me, I'm sneaky." Then he went and told his mom what I was done. His mom came down, she said, "Keep up the good work." He needs to be scared once in a while. All right, so did we get one tablet?
Mm-hmm.
Do we all understand how I got one tablet? So what do you think so far? Think it's something you can handle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So try this one, try number 7. And when you finish 7, try 8. So we okay so far? Try 9 and 10. So what did you get 3 tablets on number 9 and 2 capsules on number 10? If, and I'll put some homework up for this, but make sure you take your test before you work on the homework. I don't want y'all getting confused. If you were to put tablet instead of capsules in the homework, I'll still give you credit for it because we get so in such a habit. But be careful because on the test, by then, hopefully we'll have it down that if you don't put capsules, then I'll count points off. Okay. The homework you're just learning, you're just practicing. I'm more worried about the process. The test, though, you have to know it all. The test, you have to be know-it-alls. All right, so this is mine that I play kind of a what-if game. And what we have is we have 4 different I can't even say it. It's an oral suspension that's given for an infection, generally an ear infection or a sore throat or something along those lines. Flexor, I think. And I have one of these, or had when my kids were little. I haven't used her in probably 20-some years because my son is 29 and my daughter's 31. I haven't seen Dr. Mark Ryder in a while. But she is an awesome pediatrician. She's out of Poplar Bluff. But when I would take my kids to her, I'd only have to take, well, she was in the delivery room when I had Keith. She's always been his pediatrician. But when I would take Keith to the doctor for a sore throat or whatever, and she gave him a medication, she always told me what to give and gave me enough samples to give to my daughter. Because if y'all got 2 kids around the same age, what one gets, the other one gets. So she always gave me samples. And she was awesome. And if you ever work for a pediatrician clinic or a pediatrician's clinic, or you work even for some doctors, they will give you samples. So it's just some of their patients, especially one that they know have insurance but are having a hard time, which is most of us. So they're really good about giving out samples if they have them. What we have to determine on this, though, is which sample would be best to give the patient. The doctor's ordered 100 milligrams. And we're going to pretend this is a pediatrician. And we're going to pretend that your child is 2 years old. And I don't know if any of y'all have had 2-year-olds. No 2-year-olds act alike. My son would take his medicine all day long and not complain. My daughter, I had to lay her on the floor, sit straddle over, and put her head between my knees. So she squeezed her cheeks, and then she still tried to spit her medicine out on me. It was, looking back on it, it was hilarious. If anybody else had been in the house with my husband, he always laughed when I did that, which made matters worse. But, I pinned her down, but I didn't hurt her. I just got her where she couldn't move. So, you want to make sure, especially if you know they got a patient like that, she would not stand to have her ears looked at. She had to have a nurse holding her legs down. I had to hold her head in place just so the doctor couldn't, she had to lay flat on her stomach, just so the doctor could look at her ears. And so they knew she was like that. And so we have to make sure we're given, and you'll get some of this with practice, but give a good idea of what you might want to give a 2-year-old. And this is from a mother that's had 2-year-olds and is taking care of great nephews that have been 2-year-olds and had to give them medicine. One of them took his medicine, the other one was like my daughter, and I swear he could have been my child because he did the same thing Lisa did. But anyway, so we're going to look and see which one's going to give us the appropriate amount of medicine to give, or maybe not the appropriate amount of medicine, but an easy amount of medicine to give a 2-year-old that likes to fight you on it. So we have cefaclor, that's how you say that, cefaclor, oral suspension. This first one is 125 milligrams per 5 milliliters. So we're going to call this number 1. So I'm looking, it's an oral suspension, so I'm going to be looking for the number of milliliters. Milliliters becomes my form on this, okay? Because it's an oral suspension, so it's a liquid. Again, remember our doctor's orders is 100 milligrams. It goes over 1. Excuse me. My dosage form is milliliters. Anytime it's a liquid, it's always going to be the number of milliliters over the 125 milligrams. So my milligrams will cancel. Now we can do this 2 ways. I can take 5 into 125. And I know it'll go 25 mil. It'll go 25 times, then I take the 25 into 100. I'm not going to confuse you today. It's Monday. So I'm going to do 100 times 5, get 500, divided by 125. Okay. And I should get 4 milliliters. Which that's an okay amount. It's less than 1 teaspoon. And you get the little droppers, they'll go up to 4 milliliters. You get the oral syringes, they go up to 5 milliliters. So that's a possibility. Then let's go over here and look at number 2. It's 250 milligrams per 5 milliliters. I'm going to set it up the same way. Order is still 100 milligrams. The order is not going to change on this. My dosage form is still at 5 milliliters. My strength is still at 250 milligrams. So I can cancel all my milligrams. Now, one thing I am going to do on this one, notice I have a 0 on top and a 0 on the bottom, right? I'm going to cancel my zeros. So I'm doing 10 times 5, which gives me 50. 1 times 25. That's a whole lot easier to do in your head than 500 divided by 250. So 50 divided by 25 is 2. So I'm giving 2 milliliters. That's a pretty good dose. I would have only been spent on a little bit. I wish I had it on videos. I wish I did show y'all how bad she was. And I love my daughter, but she's hard-headed and stubborn. If we look at number 3, 187 milligrams per 5 milliliters. So again, set it up the same way. Doctor's orders is still 100 milligrams over 1. And my 5 milliliters over 187. My milligrams are going to cancel. So I'm going to have 100 times 5, which gives me 500 over 187. And it's 1 point. It's 1.7, 1.6, something like that.
Yes, 2.67.
Oh, 2.67. So if I rounded that, that would be 2.7 milliliters. Okay. That's still not bad. Can you imagine as a new mother, or a new father even, trying to measure out 2.7 milliliters when you've had no experience? All right, and the last one is 375 milligrams per 5 milliliters. So again, set it up the same way. I'm using the 375 this time. I'm going to have 500 divided by 375. I'm pretty sure that one's 1.3 milliliters. So, which one would you want to give your child? 2 milliliters, especially if she's walking. I think I'd even give, even my son, who likes to take medicine, I think I'd still give him the 2 milliliters because it's just an easier, roundabout dose. They're getting the same, they're getting 100 milligrams no matter how we work it out. Because, it's 250 milligrams in 5 milliliters. I take that down to 2 milliliters, I'm only giving 100 milligrams. Okay. So no matter how I figure it out, I'm still giving 100 milligrams. All right, so questions? You don't have to do that one on the test, but I wanted you to see where you might do something like that. So what do y'all think about this so far? So far, pretty easy. So.
I've done that.
But yeah, the last one was just, it wasn't hard. It was just kind of, there's so many steps, so many things. So we're doing the same thing over and over. We're just doing it over and over. All right, so let's look at this one. We have order for morphine sulfate, oral solution, 30 milligrams by mouth every 4 hours as needed for pain. The supply is Roxanol, which if you look up here, I told you Roxanol was a brand name. Oral solution, 20 milligrams per 5 milliliters. So y'all set that one up. It's going to be set up, just like we done the other. Our form is the 5 milliliters. Okay. We set things up the same way every time, and we do this for every time we calculate something, and we will. It makes it so much easier. Questions? So we have penicillin V potassium, 1 gram. And then I have penicillin V, or there are 5 actually, penicillin 5 potassium, oral suspension, 250 milligrams or 400,000 units per 5 milliliters. Penicillin can be ordered in milligrams or it can be ordered in units. Unit is another type of unit of measure. 1 unit is how much medication is needed to cause a biological reaction. That's what they're looking at with the units. So we could use units. If the doctor had ordered, say, 10,000 units, I could use the 4,000 units per 5 milliliters. But since the doctor ordered 1 gram, then I'm going to use the 250 milligrams per 5 milliliters. I don't have to worry about this 400,000 units. Okay. So, and again, it gets set up same way. 1 gram over 1. I've got 5 milliliters. Everything is not 5 milliliters. For some reason, it just happens to be on this paper. and 250 milligrams. Sometimes it's per 1 milliliter. Sometimes it's per 5 milliliters. I've seen them per 2 milliliters. So you'll have to read that supply dosage pretty carefully. All right, so what am I going to have to do to this one? Compare. Do you remember what I told you the milligrams to grams was? 1,000 milligrams to 1 gram. And did I put it right? Or did I write it upside down? You got milligrams on bottom, milligrams on top. I tricked you. I got one person. So is there anything else I can do before I multiply? Can I reduce anywhere? Can I cancel zeros anywhere? I could actually take 250 into 1,000, but I'm going to just do the zeros. So now I got 5 times 100 over 25. 20 milliliters. I want to do number 15. I want to skip 14. I want to do number 15. Because I've got an order in their same medication, but I got an order for 25 milligrams, and then my supply is 6.25 milligrams per teaspoon. Okay, so we haven't done the per teaspoon yet. So I'm looking for my number of teaspoons. My order is the 25 milligrams, so that won't change. This time my form is teaspoons. It's over 6.25. So my milligrams is going to cancel. I have 25 over 6.25. Now give it to me in teaspoons. Does anybody have a clue what 25 divided by 6.25 is? 40 teaspoons. A lot of medication. A lot of teaspoons. Oh, you got 4? I must think of 40 was a lot of teaspoons. Well, 4 teaspoons. That sounds better. So, and that's a good thing too. You know, I was questioning the 40 because that's a lot of teaspoons.
I thought you was around got a 0 because I said 4.
Oh,
Right.
when y'all said 4, I understood 40, and I know it has something to do with the mask. So, but then I see y'all now, I'm like, that's a lot of teaspoons. But that's something, you know, when you're dealing with this, and maybe instead of hitting 25, you hit 250 divided by 625, and you may have got 40. Because sometimes when we're putting this in a calculator, we may hit an extra key. I know, I mean, I don't look like I have fat fingers, but I do, especially when it comes to my cell phone or to some of my little bitty calculators. I can hit the wrong buttons real easy. So if you get something like 40 teaspoons and question it, then go back and redo your math. 40 teaspoons, 10 teaspoons is a lot of teaspoons. 4 or 5 teaspoons is an acceptable amount. But, you know, 40, 10, no, question, double check your math. Because, yeah, I know I hit 25 divided by 6.25, but could you have hit 250 divided by 6.25? Or could you have hit 26 instead of 25? You know, those calculators are only as good as the numbers we hit. Or it's only as one of my college professors used to say, computers are only as good as the people that are operating them. And yeah, are the people that program them. Oh, I went to college so long ago, we were taught basic computer programming. That was the name of it, basic. And I learned to write programs. So, computer was only as good as the person programming it. We had MS-DOS. We didn't have Microsoft Office. We didn't have Word documents. I had to type my papers on the typewriter. That ought to make some of y'all feel like babies. Okay, so questions. Y'all want to try this one? Try this one, see what you get. Now, if you got something different than I did, or mark it differently than I did, but double check. I was doing some crazy canceling there to get my math. What I did is I took the 0.24 gram, or the 0.24, multiplied it by 100. I moved the decimal 2 places to the right. That gave me the 24, and then the times the 5 milliliters. I canceled the zeros already, so I put it over 8. 8 goes into times. 3 times 5 is 15. I don't have a calculator. I have to do it where I can, how I can. You can do 0.24 times 5 times 100 divided by 8. You should still get the same number. Okay, so did we all get 15 milliliters? Or did I just blow your minds and you don't even want to think about it now? So questions on the oral dosages. Because next Monday, I should have probably done it today, but I didn't want to do this in the test too. We'll look at syringes, or not syringes, but I think it's in chapter 11's injectable or dosages for injections or something, I don't remember. And then 12 is reconstitution. So I may try to mix the two of them together. Chapter 10 and 11, they're completed the same way. Okay? They're worked the same way. So chapter 11 shouldn't take me very long. Now, chapter 12 is reconstitution, and that'll take me a little bit longer. It'll take us right up to 9:30 or 9:20. Oh, wait a minute, we go to 10. We go to 9:50. I'll have time to do both of them. All right, so no questions on the oral, at least till you do the homework for the oral dosages. What I used to say, I'm good till I have to do the homework. Stop sharing my screen. And then date. It's due October 13th. Let's change that. Make it due Sunday night. And if you've already finished it, done it and finished it, you're still good. So make sure you do the homework. And it'll stay open. Even though it says it was due the 7th, it'll still be open. No questions. We're all good, right? If you do the homework, you run into questions, feel free to email me. Okay, or message me or whatever you need to do, and I'll answer whatever questions I can. Y'all have a good week. And I will see you next Monday.